Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And y'all, we're in for an enlightening conversation about Akashic enlightenment. And you all know about the records, perhaps, and you know about the Akashic, but the way that Sherry Mosley shares, in particular, Akashic enlightenment, and then other expansionary work that she's channeled in and how we connect to other forms of intelligence, it's going to be an extraordinary call today. It's like prepare to learn something new, prepare to awaken perhaps something within yourself. If you're interested in asking Sherry for a reading, raise your hand. We're going to take live callers. No chat box call questions today. Live callers today, y'all, so that Sherry can really tap into the field and be able to be more accurate with you. So it's going to be an amazing opportunity to have a reading with Sherry. We'll get into that a little bit later. Before we get into the call, though, let me tell you a little bit more about her. So Sherry Mosley is a renowned and greatly appreciated international practitioner, teacher, and author of her alternative health and spirituality. With her internationally popular sellers, Akashic Enlightenment, Akashic Records, and Book of Truth for Divine Knowledge, Healing and Ascension and Origins of Humanity, she has brought to life changing, deep and powerful spiritual awakening and healing to many. Her clients give rave reviews of receiving clarity in life situations and feeling immediately lighter and totally rebirth from years and even a lifetime of debilitating life and health situations. She's a powerful intuitive from a shamanic psychic medium lineage and is clairvoyant, claircognizant, clairaudient, clairsentient, and clairalient, which I'll have to ask you what that is. She has a master's in science and Oriental medicine, certified shamanic healing practitioner and counselor, Akashic enlightenment practitioner, and Reiki master. And with that, Sherry, welcome to the call.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, we're going to get into Akashic enlightenment, but where's a clairalient?
I'm trying to remember all of the clairs. It's basically all of the senses, whether it's the hearing, clairvoyant is the seeing. I think the clairalient is it's a type of a form of sensing or touching.
Okay.
It's the smell. So sometimes when I do readings, I can smell sage, or I smelled chocolate chip cookies once in somebody's reading as part of receiving the knowledge. So basically it just takes over all of the five senses.
Okay, amazing. So let's get into Akashic enlightenment.
Okay.
What's the difference between the Akashic records, the Akash, and what you're calling Akashic enlightenment?
Yeah, so when I received this, I was told that this was the frequency and the work that I was to be working in. And they called it Akashic enlightenment, the Akashic records and the Book of Truth. So the Akashic records is kind of, it's your little individual record amidst all the multidimensional greater knowledge that's there. So it uses that as your kind of direct beacon to what knowledge you need for you, your soul path at this time. So Akashic records also go by the Book of Life, right? And so Akashic enlightenment opens the Book of Life, but also the Book of Truth. So the Book of Truth is that higher multidimensional knowledge, and that's where you receive all of the ascension knowledge. This is where you are connecting to the greater Akasha or Akash, right? Which is so vast. There's so much knowledge there that they are using your Akashic records to then streamline it into your personal alignment, right? So I actually got this after doing A Course in Miracles and Shamanic Journey together. So it kind of hybridized this ascension work coming into your highest divine self, but also using, a type of a divination. So Akashic enlightenment it's kind of like doing shamanic field work where you're going into the overall field and bringing in higher knowledge, energy healing, and awakening.
Amazing. So when you say they, like they're giving us information, who are they?
Yes. So, well, in shamanic practice, you have your spirit teachers or your spirit guides. Mine have changed over time. At that time, I was working with Ascended Master Jesus as my spirit teacher, which I talk about in the Akashic Enlightenment book. I actually write out some of the journeys that we did and the knowledge that he was telling me as I was learning before I received Akashic Enlightenment. But amidst that, once you're in Akashic Enlightenment, you are speaking to the ascended beings, the lords of the records, passed on loved ones, the beings of light, and other beings can also show up because it's an overall field. So I'd say that that's maybe what's different about my work. Because of the vastness of frequency field that is open, you can then receive a lot of higher dimensional beings, ascended masters, guides that do come in. But I tend to have the ones that I regularly work with. But in all of my work, I do contact with multiple beings.
So when you teach someone how to access their own Akashic enlightenment, is it possible for people who say, I don't know who my guides are, they don't come through, I can't communicate with them, for them to have like some type of epiphany that all of a sudden like they have a connection that they didn't have before?
Yeah, everybody is able to use Akashic Enlightenment to receive what we call higher knowledge, right? It's higher divine knowledge that's in alignment for your ascension. And they don't actually focus on who it's coming from. It's not about the who. The ego can sometimes connect too much to the who rather than the message. And the message or the higher guidance that's coming in is the primary perspective or the primary focus. But some people then, through Akashic Enlightenment, either me teaching them and or doing a reading with them, their guides may show up. So maybe Archangel Michael, it may be Ascended Master Jesus. I'm trying to think of some of the other guides. Sometimes I get people's passed on loved ones that come through. So that's a type of guide to some people, a passed on loved one. So yeah, there can be multiple guides that show up. But the whole point is not to go in with too much of a desired intention and to be more open to receive what is in your highest and best. Yeah, in terms of, I want to know who my guides are.
I certainly appreciate that. And I can understand, because you can hear some people's like, I'm connecting to Melchizedek or Archangel Michael, or the Pleiadians are coming in. It's very specific for some people, and we're like, and we wonder, like, why am I not connecting? Why don't I have the answer? And for me, for the longest of years, was I just surrender. It's like, I feel it's benevolent, and that's all that really matters to me.
Yeah.
And in that innocence, like, things would start to sprout, and I'd get a hint, or maybe even the knowing of who it was, but I wouldn't hang on to the knowing, because I felt like it was that and possibly so much more that I'm learning to receive.
Yeah, I'd say overall, and that's the point of Akashic Enlightenment, is to just open the field. It's opening all of your higher chakras, getting you used to receiving that knowledge to awaken you, right? It's not really about, oh, I know so-and-so or this and this. It's about the experience, because as you go through the experience, you let go more of your little me identity, because you're expanding your consciousness, connecting to all of the frequencies that are actually a part of the universal source, right? So Akashic Enlightenment opens the field or extends the vertical antenna enough and high enough that you can then have options of connecting to ETs, Ascended Masters, Angelics. Most recently, I connected to the Divine Lords of Light and the Council of Nine. They're helping me on my new book that I'm working on right now. So yeah, there's always different beings showing up, you know, whatever's part of the journey.
Right there to support. And why is it Akashic though? Akashic alignment, because there's a way of connecting where we can feel truth. What's the significance of the Akash in this way that you're connecting for clients to connect with, but that you're also teaching people how to connect through as well?
Overall, it's awakening, right? So Akashic Enlightenment is for basically self-realization. That's the overall goal and the overall purpose. And you can go through past lives. You can look at soul contracts. You can look at core wounds. We even go through looking at self-realization, And then I work with the Elohim and bringing in light codes. And these are the kind of the different levels of Akashic enlightenment that I teach. Goes into the Elohim, and then we connect with the ascended masters. But again, like I said before, the purpose of it is always the awakening and the enlightenment to basically ultimately live a life led by guidance, higher guidance, and surrendering the little me, the little I, or allowing the soul to lead the ego instead of the ego leading the soul.
Yeah, beautiful. Now, there's a group that I want to talk about a little bit later, and these are the Aqualorians. And I don't want to get into that quite yet. I want to leave it as a little bit of a cliffhanger, y'all, because it's so fascinating. Before we get to, and we are going to take live Q&A. So if you want a reading from Sherry, a mini reading, raise your hand because we're going to get into that. And of course, the special offer is going to be amazing. Can't wait for y'all to dive into it in a little bit. Before we go that there, Sherry, and we get into the richness of that. There's a richness of how you're teaching people how to learn to access their own Akashic enlightenment. And what are some maybe quick things that you can share with us here on the show to give us some type of entry points or awareness that we can learn to access? What are some things that we can do to start building that type of relationship?
Yeah, it's actually really simple.
Amazing.
And it should be, because ultimately it is, your connection to source is your divine right. It's who you actually already are, right? And it's just the Akashic enlightenment prayer. And you can look at saying a prayer like you do shamanic drumming to do a shamanic journey that puts your brainwave frequency at a certain state, brainwave state, most commonly a theta brainwave state, and that shifts you into a meditative brainwave state. So when you recite the prayer with your name, you are putting yourself into that mind consciousness frequency of Akashic enlightenment. So even when I shared this prayer with some other people when I first got it, the first feedback I got was, this is very high frequency, right? And that's what all of this is. It's all about frequency, right? So even if you do a shamanic journey, you can start at one frequency and then travel up the upper worlds to higher frequencies with practice. And what you're doing is you're training your mind to go into these higher states of consciousness. So the first step is to get the Akashic Enlightenment prayer and open it, which it's in my book. It's like $10 on Amazon, little investment, and I put the soul alignment practices in there. If you're a self-learner, you can just do the soul alignment practices, right? But in today's package, there's a whole introduction course to that, a 90-minute crash course, which we'll get into more. But it's just really simple to get in there, and most people will feel the frequency right away. And it will make you kind of sleepy if you're getting used to the high frequency, which I think some of us have experienced over the last couple of months when the frequencies changed so much, right? We start adjusting a lot. So when you go into Akashic enlightenment, there may be an adjustment period as your energy bodies, I call it going to the spiritual gym, they're training to hold this higher frequency, because we don't do this in our everyday world. So it just takes practice. So I also compare it to like learning a martial art, right? You have to go through the belts. Okay, you have to learn to hold the different frequencies, and eventually then your energy holds that frequency, and you'll notice it because other people will definitely reflect it to you.
Reflect it. And an important thing that you talk about, it's so key. The quality of our questions when we open that field really dictate the experience and the wisdom and the truth that gets revealed through the questions. How can we learn to ask better questions? Do you have like a little cheat sheet or a format to help us be more clear or specific or attuned to what's rising through us?
In level 2 Akashic Enlightenment, which I teach one-on-one, or I have recorded webinars, or if you get the second book, Origins of Humanity, I do actually have in there a little worksheet for you to go through of how to get better questions. But the first key is to really take some time to dive into, how am I feeling right now? What is irritating me, or what is coming up? What is kind of repeated? And I usually use kind of the last week, what has come up, and to really journal into that. And then you start to form questions, open-ended questions. You never want to use a yes, no question. That is easy for the ego to control, right? It can ask a question to get the yes or no answer that it wants. So always want the what, how, why questions, right? And it is a practice. And I do go over it in the book, and I do go over it more in the trainings. But the first step is always taking some time to dial into kind of what is coming up for you right now. Well, I'm stressed. I don't know what the next chapter of my life should be. Okay, and now just try to form 3 open-ended questions around that. Okay, then, try to make it as big and open as you can. Don't get too detailed at the beginning. You can always drill down more on the answer that you receive. And then you always use the answer to form your next question, because that way you're showing, oh, I've listened, I've heard that. Okay, now tell me more about that answer, right? And eventually then what that is doing is it's shining the light on all of the ego's reactions, so that by the time you're done, it's quiet and peaceful, because it doesn't have anything else to have a tantrum about. It's like, okay, I surrender. This is what needs to happen.
Well, and all of y'all listening live and on the replay, again, we're going to get into live Q&A in a little bit, y'all, but I want to go through some of these aspects as well. One thing that I want to give everybody credit for, and any of y'all who are learning to do this for yourself, like that's one of the hardest things, to ask our own questions. It's one thing for me to be in a space where a client's asking a question and we're evolving it, and it's not that I'm not involved or not interested, but I hold the place of non-judgment and of not worrying about the outcome, because I see the highest and I hold the highest. But it's another thing when we have a desire for a specific outcome sometimes, or a preference of how it's going to show up, and that can convolute the field. So being patient with ourselves as we're learning to ask questions for ourselves, and refining those, and feeling the safety of letting go of the desired answer, and knowing that it's all showing up for us truly, instead of, oh my God, if I only have this, then everything else will be okay. It takes practice, and you build up that skill.
Yeah, and the one way to practice, which I actually learned in Shamanic Journey first, is when you do, in Shamanic Journey, you traditionally have one question. You start off with one really open-ended question, and you go and talk to your spirit teacher. And while you do the journey, you speak the entire time and you record the audio. So for Akashic enlightenment, the focus is writing. You let the ego focus on writing everything down, right? So that it's not getting in the way and blocking, which most people will have an egoic backlash at the beginning of, I'm making this up. That's very common. Oh, that's not true. Oh, this or this. And you'll see the ego, but that's the whole point. You want that to flush up, right? Because it's trying to get the outcome to understand, to get a grip on something that it can't get a grip on. So eventually you wear it out by writing things down. You're giving it something to focus on. And before you know it, you've snuck around the back door and it didn't get to control what was going on. But it takes practice. Like I was saying in the beginning. Yeah, you just keep going and going and going.
Wow. And again, it's the practice, and there's a playfulness also. Like if we show up in the lightness and the playfulness, we find that we relax more into the transmission that's being held. Again, when we hold on so tightly in dense form, it can take a while for it to penetrate. But in the playful field, in the innocent field, there's really a way for that intelligence to travel through without as much obstruction. So an invitation for all of y'all as you're learning to do this for yourself, if you're interested to do so. Sherry, I want to get into the transmissions. So again, you've worked in the shamanic realms. You've worked with this Akashic enlightenment, which is so fantastic. And again, the truth and the knowledge that comes through there. But that in turn, or perhaps the other opened up, or they happen in tandem, you started connecting with some light beings that hold golden keys. You refer to them as the Aqualorians.
Yes, yes.
How did they come in? Who are they, and what are they here to share?
Yeah, so actually, when I was in acupuncture school, I was going to Mount Shasta on one of my shamanic peers' retreats, and he connected to the Arcturians. And after I went to Shasta to one of those retreats, connected with the Arcturians, then once I was home, I got this sense the next year, or maybe it was 2 years, that there were some other beings that wanted to contact me. I felt it in my dreams. I was having dreams of ships coming in. There was a lot happening, and I just felt this calling. And I told them, I'm like, I'm coming up. I think there's some beings that want to connect with me. I'll see what happens. So even though we were up there and we're doing, they're doing overall ET contact, following, Stephen Greer techniques and other things. I was in my Akashic enlightenment. And as I've said before, this opens a frequency field. So when you're in that high frequency field and you combine it with ET contact, which I now lead trips of my own up there, you're going to get beings that are on that frequency, right? Because it's like the antenna frequency that you're putting up of like, or the walkie-talkie station that or channel that you're on. You're like, this is the channel I'm on. Who's going to pick up, right? And so while I was there, this beautiful ship came in. And when I say it came in astrally. So this is clairvoyance. I'm seeing this clairvoyantly, astrally coming in, but it was all made of this crystalline light. And one of the beings came down and asked me to come up. So I astral traveled and I went up into the ship, and they were just so loving and so beautiful and sweet. And they showed me this beautiful crystalline lotus. And they said, this is how we run our ship. This is how we stay healthy. This is how we live. Our entire existence is based off of this crystalline lotus. And they said, when you get home, we're going to teach you how to do healing for your people with this light energy. And so then I have a protocol that I use to go into Akashic enlightenment to then ask a bunch of questions of, okay, who are the Aqualorians? What is this crystalline light? And I just engage in learning more about it and then downloading everything. I also combine that with shamanic journeys. And so they started connecting with me and telling me about the crystalline light healing. And before I knew it, then I was going up there every year to get attuned. So while I was leading these groups of contact for other people, the Aqualorians, as well as other beings, would come in, but the Aqualorians would specifically come and work on me and were attuning me to Akashic and Aqualorian crystal light healing levels 1. I'm all the way up to level 10 now. And I think it did 3 levels per year. Okay, so it takes time. It's very intense, actually, to go through that process. You go to humans to get attuned to Reiki healing. I sometimes call this a very advanced Reiki, or even like a medical Qigong. Okay, it's a very advanced energy healing where you're working on all the energy bodies. You're working on the toroidal field to clear that. You're working on the auric field. You're healing on all levels of healing: astral, physical, mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the karmic, causal, all of it combined, which also Akashic enlightenment field is also working on that. So combining the two together creates a very, very powerful healing modality. But everybody loves the Aqualorians. Every time I do an event with them, they love it. And I've actually had people tell me, which I'm always amazed. I do these things, I bring them in, but I really like hearing what people say and their experiences with them. Because half the time I'm channeling stuff in and doing things, and I don't really know what's happening. I just know, like you said, it's benevolent and I'm along for the ride, But people are telling me, especially when people get surgery and then they work on their partners with Aqualorian crystal light healing, the doctors are saying, how are you healing so fast? What are you doing? And that's, I'm like, wow. That's amazing. It's because I get a lot of stuff on the higher realms, but when it's on the physical and it's that traceable, it's like, wow, okay, now the doubt is completely out of my mind.
Mhm.
you know.
Amazing. What happens when someone participates in these Aqualorian transmissions, again, in the recordings that you have and all that? What are some of the experiences that are received?
Oh gosh, well, that's the thing is it really depends because I do such different ones. Sometimes it's a personal healing that we'll do, but the most recent one I did was the Aqualorian for balance, harmony, and rejuvenation. Right. So the personal healing is kind of like you can do it anytime you want. You can replay it anytime you want. Right. And so it's going to help heal and align whatever is misaligned at that moment. Right. But then people that were in the one for balance and harmony, they said, oh my gosh, I do this every night before I go to bed. I feel so relaxed. I just feel so peaceful. Everything is quiet. And the ones that we're doing in the package are the keys to light being. So those are much more consciousness evolution, activation for this new human, this new energy that we're coming into. Okay, they were already starting to prepare us when I did those sessions for this energy shift they were in now. And people were just, they were just having these moments of just profound like bliss, euphoria, enlightenment, and just, wow, this is so beautiful and amazing. So it really depends, what we're accessing with the crystalline light, and it changes people's responses. I actually taught these to China, which I was so amazed. It was really challenging with the language barrier, but that was amazing, was teaching that to them. And I actually did a live healing to 80 people online, and it was profound. Everyone was like, oh, I had this move where I felt something in my headache cleared, my shoulder pain's gone, I feel relaxed. This, I've been having this pain for this long and it's suddenly totally gone. I don't even know what's happening. So it really depends on the crowd, what kind of healing is going on, but there's always a very, very powerful response. It's beautiful. It's exciting.
Amazing what comes through. So are y'all ready to experience some of Sherry's work right now? As we go in, and then we're going to go through the special offer in a little bit, y'all, because I want y'all to have the opportunity to go deeper into what Sherry's offering here. But let's play a little bit with the field and get some ratings.
Okay.
So as we start that, let's start with user 1594. Welcome to the call. Let's get you to unmute, please.
Hi, John.
Hello.
How are you and Sherry? I hope you're doing
Wonderful.
great. If you indicated the best way to ask a question, I missed that. But I was just curious for a reading.
Just speak, yeah, whatever's going on.
You have a question?
I don't have a specific question, actually. Is it best just to ask for an Akashic reading?
What are you feeling you need guidance or assistance with at this time?
I would say the next move in my profession.
Okay, and what is your name?
Leanne.
Yeah. I do this. I don't know how I do this. Do this now? Oh, I can't do this.
The other, is there more than one? Okay. All right. It just starts to cross over. Okay, so Leanne, profession, your next step. It looks like maybe you're taking some downtime first to get realigned. So there may have been, I don't know if you came out of like a pretty busy, immersive profession, but what I'm seeing is that there's, so when we get into a certain field or profession, our consciousness is very connected to it. We've formed a lot of mental pathways that are very connected to that, right? And sometimes then when we're ready to take a bigger jump into something else, we need some downtime to just let things wash out, because even if we go into what is aligned next, there's going to be a lot of pushback or interference or maybe even doubt that could sabotage it or make it confusing. So the first thing I'm seeing for you right now is to take some quiet time, maybe meditating, going within more, asking yourself, well, what do I really feel like I've always wanted to do? Right? And becoming aligned and accepting to that, to let go of maybe more of like family pressures, upbringing, things that were more crossing over and interfering with you choosing what, not so much choosing, but doing what you really want to do. Okay. But overall, I see you as a very compassionate person, and you enjoy connecting with others, more almost like a one-on-one. Okay. And so, we're not going to put you in a desk job in a corner answering phones, right? It's more of like, oh, I want to connect with you. I want to feel like maybe I'm making a difference in your life through assisting you. So, and there's a lot of different roles and positions that could fill that, right? And again, those roles, and I talk about, this is the difference with Akashic enlightenment. There's your soul path, but then the ascension portion is your consciousness level that you're going to apply to that path. So you could go from working in human resources to leading personalized yoga retreats, working on deep meditation and helping people find their soul purpose. Both of those, you are helping people one-on-one. But the consciousness level behind them can be very different, right? One could be in corporate America, one you could be in Bali leading a retreat center, okay? And it's really the awareness that you are working on at that time that's going to shift how you are playing it out. So the first thing is to get very centered, right? To work on their consciousness and then see how could I best apply working one-on-one with people, deeply connecting with them, feeling like I'm making a difference in their life.
That is so right on. Actually, I'm in that process right now, changing from a model of working with 150 people a week to 30 people a week and spending lots of one-on-one time with them.
Beautiful.
Amazing. Well, more power to you. Yeah, good confirmation.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Now, Sherry, as you were reading this, are you pulling from Akashic enlightenment? Is that what you're tuning into? Or when you're doing these readings, what's that connection point for you?
Yeah, so a few things. I am naturally psychic medium. I have been since birth. I did my shamanic training and Akashic enlightenment to kind of direct that. But at this point, it feels more of like being fully present with somebody and fully seeing them as they truly are. Now, when I open up doing one of these talks, I open up my own Akashic enlightenment, and then I open up the overall greater field to bring in whatever needs to come in for all that are listening and tuning in live or in the recordings. And then I connect in more deeply, specifically with the name of the person, and then just focusing on what's coming in.
Wonderful. So, well, let's go to another example. Let's go to another reading. Let's go to user 11. Welcome to the call. And what is your name as you unmute?
Yes. I just need a first name.
User 11.
Oh, we can't hear you. We
Hello?
cannot hear you.
Yes, I
User 11. Let's get you to unmute. User 11, we don't hear you. Oh, sorry, love. We'll try to come back to you. And there's somebody else you're trying to unmute yourself. If you're not user 11, I'm calling on her first, and I'll get back to you later. Okay. So let's tap in. You may want to log out and go back in. Sometimes that helps. User 11, and we'll try to get you back on.
I'm in my settings.
There you are. You've adjusted your settings. You're on.
Yes. You know,
I'm fine.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. If anybody's not called on, if you can unmute yourself, please. What is your name?
Me, Madeline.
Hi, Madeline. Welcome to the call.
Thank
Hi.
you very much. I've watched you a lot in replays, and I realized, oh, I'm live. I can interact.
You're live. Welcome. Yes. What's your question for Sherry?
That is so interesting, her perspective and her connection to more galactic realms. So I have a couple of questions. One about my Akashic, and I feel more like I'm a more earth-based, inner soul-based person. But I also have a tinnitus that I know is not hearing loss. And I'm wondering what something is trying to tell me about that.
Yes. Great
Which
question.
it gets in the way of my meditation in the morning, and I do sound and music, and it's really hard in headphones. And I know it's something with my vagus nerve, I think, but I don't know what else is going on there.
Let's see what Sherry picks up. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Okay, Madeline. So it's like, is it a ringing or a hissing sound?
It's a hiss. The hiss, and it came on after a flu with a roaring sound, but I have no hearing loss. And then I fell and injured my spine, and it amplified. So I think, oh, this is connected.
Yeah,
If I
that's what I'm
push on
seeing.
meridians, I can make it ease.
Yeah, at the beginning, I was just feeling that there was some sort of stress. They showed your energy was just kind of shaking, right? Like there's a trauma or something that is going on in your field. It's like it's not fully rested or processed. You could call this, you know, how some people will have a car accident and they'll go through the shock, right? But then the shock isn't cleared. You can carry that in your energy field for a long time, right? And so that's the first thing that I was picking up on, was that there's some sort of a shock or a trauma. I think that's more from the back. Did you say you fell?
Yeah,
Yeah.
flat
Okay.
on my back from like
Yeah.
3 feet.
Okay, yeah, because I'm seeing that that's the biggest interference of what's going on. And this almost seems like a messenger of the distress that your body is in. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking, like, what can I do? What do I, I try, pressure points and just meditating, but it's,
Yeah, we're gonna run the Aqualorians, okay?
thank you.
All right, so we're just gonna run some Aqualorian crystal and light healing on Madeline here for her spine, but also clearing out whatever this interference is causing the ear sounds. Yeah, so there's already like a shaking coming in here. So we're just going to clear this. There's shock. Okay, so there's a block that they're clearing. It's a worthiness block. All right, so sometimes when we get hurt or we go through trauma, if we weren't raised to be able to say how we felt or express our needs, there can be a shutting down of being able to receive healing. Okay, so they're starting to clear this block, the sense of unworthiness. Maybe you weren't listened to, or somebody wasn't there for you. Maybe this was a long time in your lifetime or a specific point, and they're just starting to clear this. There we go. Softening. Yeah, there we go. So it's almost like your breath is changing now. There we go. Coming into a more calm nervous system. There we go. Yeah, it looks like it's in the adrenals. So there's a bit of like a fight or flight running in the background that they're starting to clear. Yeah, Yeah, some emotions clearing too. You may feel something come up and then dissolve. Yeah, and I won't get into the story, but they're starting to clear this greater unworthiness. It's an ancestral karmic pattern. Yeah, so there's an attachment to that pattern. Sometimes we attach thinking that we're going to lose part of ourselves or a connection to somebody if we let go of those patterns, but you're just letting go the false identity or the false connection that you've been living with somebody. There we go. It looks like this has been affecting your relationships overall as well. There we go. Almost like a nervousness or an anxiety that you can't quite get to. And they're just working on the spine directly now. I think that's as far as we can go now. There are some other deeper blocks that we won't get into now, but yeah, there should be more sense of a peace and calm. Probably everybody's feeling it now. Yeah, but you may have some emotions come up. Okay. Yeah, yeah. But there's some other deeper things in there. So you may want to, if you want to, you can do a personal session and go deeper. Yeah.
I feel there's a lot of depth to be explored. My life is lovely. I have everything that I ask for. I know how to, how to bring things. And my concern has been more about trying to save the earth in whatever I can do, multimedia wise, and trying to reach people or raise some level. But as soon as I had the opportunity to get on with you, I think my heart started just racing. And I don't know, coffee still, but I really felt that and I really appreciated. And I didn't explore your history about what you offer in private sessions, but I will do that if you see that there's something I could learn from it.
Yeah, there's just more deeper healing work that we won't do on a public platform. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, love. Thank you so much for
Thank
calling
you.
in.
Thank you
Being
very
the
much.
energy of this receiving, and blessings to you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, y'all. Let's continue. I want to get into empowering y'all. We're going to take a lot more live callers because this is the depth in which Sherry's going. It's just such a gift. So I want to make sure that we have the advantage to take the time to do this, y'all. So we're going to get back to that. But for right now, click on the special offer page. It's right underneath the video where you're watching this or listening, perhaps. The link is also in the chat box if you want to click on that, or you can always open up a new browser if you're on a device and can't access it on that particular device. Just go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace, and that'll show you all the special offers, and Sherry's will be highlighted at the very top. And Sherry, if you would, can you guide us through what people are going to receive by going into their superhuman, getting into Akashic enlightenment, getting to play with the Aqualorians?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
this is an
this
amazing
is-
offer. Yeah.
Yeah, this is quite an intro and it's very super powered and accelerated. The first part is a 90-minute class, the very first class of Akashic Enlightenment. And this is the first time that I really released this in a package. And it'll just give you the very beginning steps of opening your own Akashic Enlightenment. So you can get in there. There's some meditations to practice with, some soul alignment practices to practice with. So it's the very, very beginning of getting in there. And then you can follow that up with moving forward with the becoming the superhuman self. This is a workshop that I just did where you're going to connect using your own Akashic enlightenment. There's 5 sessions of you start answering questions on this next phase of humanity for yourself. We're in a powerful transformation of going from Pluto in Capricorn to Pluto in Aquarius, so setting you up for the next 20 years. So you can practice your Akashic enlightenment in these 5 sessions and also get an Akashic enlightenment energy transmission with the divine lords of light, which they're beautiful transmissions, very high frequency. And then the final item is, of course, our beautiful Aqualorians. And these are 2 sessions, 2 different series of part 1 and part 2, 3 sessions each. And these are primarily focusing on energy transmissions with the Aqualorians. And they're really bringing you into your light being self, these keys to your light being self, right? So you're starting to shift and come into yourself as a light being. And a light being is your highest form of self connected to source. So these are very high frequency, connecting you to your core light field, really bringing you to this next high frequency in your threshold of awakening. So all of these together are very, very powerful, accelerating, deeply healing, deeply aligning, bringing you into your highest, truest self, into these highest frequencies in a very loving and nurturing way that'll just leave you feeling revitalized. I mean, you felt the Aqualorians here, so you'll know, and you'll get to practice with your Akashic enlightenment as well. So it's a great beginning dive into everything.
So on here, I'm reading there's 6 90-minute recorded sessions and 6 30-minute energy transmissions. So
Yeah.
that's a combination of all 3 items. That's the Akash, the becoming superhuman, and the Aqualorians, right?
No, that's just the light being sessions.
Again, I wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Y'all, it's
Yeah. So
our
there's 6
team
sessions there.
spent like a full day downloading and uploading, preparing these packages for y'all. It's like it was like I had to have 2 people work on the content because there's so much that's available here. So it's 3 items, but how deep in the layers they go to really facilitate these transmissions is quite profound.
Yeah, and it's great, so the 30-minute transmission is part of the 90 minutes. So you get, 6 90-minute sessions, and then there's 5-minute 90-minute sessions and the 1 90-minute session. So
Wow.
it's a total of 12 90-minute sessions. But I do an introduction. You get to meet some of the people that have been doing my work for a long time, and there's some newbies in there as well. So you get a good variety of people sharing their experiences at the end. We do Q&A and sharing, which is always really helpful when you're on this path, because it's like, oh, am I making this up? Am I feeling this on my own? Am I alone in this? So it's really confirming and very loving and communal. Yeah.
So as we get into, again, I'm going to scroll all the way up because this is so rich. I just want to kind of breathe into it for a second, y'all, because again, there's so much.
There is so much.
Akashic Enlightenment Level 1, Class 1, accessing your Akashic records in the Book of Truth.
Yes.
So in essence, you're teaching me how to go in the Akashic Enlightenment, again, this Book of Truth, and begin to have a relationship and learning how to ask more refined questions, how to be in the field, let go of expectation to really open up the possibility of what's flowing through.
Yeah, and it's a recording of a webinar. So I was guiding other people through this. You'll get to hear their experiences, and you can hear me guiding you through. And when I'm there, as opposed to if you're just doing it in the book, my energy field is already so templated with these frequencies. When you're going through it with me in recording or live, and a group field as in the recording, it just increases you being able to template off of the frequencies and pick it up much faster. So it's very, very beneficial, and it's so simplified. beautiful first class, and you'll learn 3 meditations just for general grounding and clearing, but you'll really just get attuned to working with the prayer.
Beautiful. So that's the
Yeah.
Akashic enlightenment, y'all. That's item 1. Item 2, we're going to scroll down the richness
Yeah.
of the description here and what y'all are going to receive.
Yeah.
The next phase of humanity, human to superhuman.
Yes.
How are you teaching us that? What's coming through that's awakening in us that you're attuning us to?
Yeah, so in the first class, I do teach you, I do a very short crash course of how to open Akashic enlightenment, and then we apply it directly to answering in channeled questions for each of the 5 sessions here. I've channeled in questions that then you will be guided to ask and record what you receive. Okay, and all the questions have to do with being human to superhuman, the next phase of humanity, aligning with your next role that you're being called to at this time. Okay. Some people were doing Akashic enlightenment for the first time. You know, there were some people live, a lot of people doing recordings because it was in winter that we were doing this right after the holidays. But some people had total, profound transformation just from doing this class. And so then there's a power between doing the questions, and then I followed up immediately while you're in your own Akashic enlightenment with a 30-minute energy transmission connecting to the divine lords of light, which I have not worked with them before. They're on a whole higher level of part of this grand awakening that we are in. And the frequencies that come through are just profound, so beautiful, very high frequency, and very much, again, aligning you to this next phase and allowing you to understand on a deep level what this next phase is about. So it'll unpack as the year goes on, right? So you can do these replays. People love doing the replays as like a meditation as well, or just to make yourself feel better. Or if you need guidance, you know, the meditations or the replays of the energy are great for this one and the Aqualorian one as well.
And again, the Aqualorian, the connecting with the light beings, the golden keys to light being, the energetic transmissions. You
Yeah,
split it
actually,
into 2 groups. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, what I didn't mention was I did these right after coming back from Mount Shasta. So I do an annual retreat to Mount Shasta every year, where I bring a group of people up. We do contact through Akashic enlightenment, and then I get attuned to the Aqualorians, as I had mentioned before. And then I usually get something to give to the collective after I've unpacked the frequencies. So this is what I got right after being in Mount Shasta in August. So this came through, I think it was October, just last October, right? So this is, you know, fresh from Mount Shasta frequencies with the Aqualorians.
Amazing. Amazing. Y'all, this is wonderful. Again, it's a deep dive into connecting with these energies. And I too have been connecting with like another access of guides that are coming in from a place that I was not familiar with. And it's pretty amazing. The connection that we have and what we're facilitating through our beingness during this time. And I know if it's happening for Sherry, if it's happening for me, that you have access to it as well. Maybe you're new to accessing it. Maybe you've accessed it and you're trying to make sense of it. Or maybe it makes so much sense that you're able to take it to another place. But in whatever part of that phase that you're in, being in the resonance and the cohesive field of that template just amplifies what's possible beyond our current knowing. And that's why it excites me to be able to present these attunements, these activations, this field of pristine energy. Because again, it attunes us, all of us, and we all get to raise with those frequencies, which is so beautiful. So again, this is here for y'all. It's $144 through this special offer through Sherry. There's a 2 payment option on it. The second you pay, within minutes, you should start begin receiving your downloads. So you can start participating right away. I want to get into more Q&A. Sherry, you were about to say something. Was there something else that you wanted to share?
Yeah, once you get into Akashic enlightenment, you are then more or less, you know, you're building that antenna to be connected to higher beings. So you may start channeling, I don't know, with Archangel Michael, you may have your Pleiadian family come in, whatever's in alignment, whoever's in alignment to connect with you, it will come. One of someone who's been one of my clients for a long time, he just now started speaking light language spontaneously, right? And so as you go through this process, whatever your higher abilities are, whatever beings you're meant to connect with, it'll start clicking on the more that you practice with your Akashic enlightenment. And these energy attunements and these practices, they'll just accelerate all of that for you. It's a very accelerated path.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the special offer again, y'all. $144, 2-payment option. You'll start getting the downloads, metaphorically and physically right away. So take advantage of it. All right, Sherry, I'm going to go into some more Q&A. So let's go on some more peeps in our community here. I'm going to try to get to as many of y'all as possible, by the way. Let me start with user 935. Welcome to the call.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Hello. I have been watching and listening for over a decade, and this is the first time I've ever put my hand up.
Oh my God, welcome.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
What is your name? It's wonderful to meet you.
Deborah.
Deborah. What's your question for Sherry?
I suppose I'd really appreciate a reading of what comes through naturally. I'm 5 weeks into a cohabiting separation of 23-year-long marriage, and I'm trying to stay very anchored in a heart space. I'm doing okay on that front, but I would love any messages that you see fit to share.
Yeah, there's a deep shedding going on. A shedding of, it's almost like a whole layer of pain that you've been holding on to for a long time. Letting go. Yeah, you've pushed this down for a long time, but it's gotten to the point where it hurts more to push it down than to let it come out.
Right.
But there's the panic of, this is going to destroy my life, right? And that's almost what's more, almost not so much scary, but that's what's hitting you more, right?
Yeah.
The ego's reaction to letting go of what it thought was safe and comfortable, but was really eating you alive. But it was like, oh, but the fallout's going to be so much worse, so I don't want to do it, right?
I do feel very trusting that I'm definitely doing what I need to be doing, and that all will be well. But what you've said is, spot on.
Yeah. So let's just see how we can best help you and support you through that process, because I can see that there's almost like a holding of the breath, like
Yeah.
like they're showing this image of like being deep underwater, and you're just like, I could see the surface, but it feels like I'm going so slow to get up there. Am I going to make it to be able to take that breath? Okay. And so we're just kind of trying to give you a little like life support, like bring you the oxygen. Like, you're going to get there just fine. It's going to be okay. So we're just going to kind of bring some support. Oh, you have a strong angelic connection here. There's a lot of angels coming in. So this is a good example of beings that are aligned with somebody. Okay. Yeah. Because I'm not calling them in. This is your connection. You have a strong angelic.
I'm very goosebumpy. Yes.
Yeah. I can see them coming in. They're coming in all around you. Yeah, and they're coming into your home. I don't know if you have angelic figurines or anything that do you follow the angels? Do you feel connected to them?
I'm very connected. I operate instinctually. I feel connected most of the time.
To the angels?
To something. Something I
okay.
trust.
Okay, yeah. I'm just seeing these beautiful white glowing angelics coming in. Yeah, there's a nervousness in you though on receiving their their love. So this may feel a little overwhelming.
It's okay.
Yes. Sometimes the angelic love, it's so unconditional that it can make us cry or feel shaky or very humbled, because they're so pure and so beautiful with their love. Oh, this is a powerful lesson coming in here. So what they're asking you to do is just to see your partner in that pure unconditional love, that they never know what they're doing. It's not intentional. And when you accept that, you're able to forgive. And when you can forgive, it just lets go all the tension. It just melts away because there's no more fear. This is a very advanced practice. But if you can do this when you're with somebody, you're starting to be fully present with them from your full true self. So in Akashic enlightenment, they teach you to be your true self, that light that's connected to source, God, all that is. Yeah. And then when you see the other person in their true self, it gives them permission to let go of everything that they're falsely believing. And not in a way that you're going to say, oh, that's false. That's not who you are. You just watch. Okay, you just watch. And they may fall apart. They may rage and get angry. But whatever is going on is whatever they're releasing. So you're starting to become a mirror. So you become the mirror, you're able to see your true self more. Which to the ego is terrifying, because then it doesn't have a place to get its agenda anymore. But that's the fastest way, is to be fully present with that. And that's what you're being asked to do.
I'm trying. I think we're doing okay on that front. It is taking a lot of energy, but I feel so much better hearing you confirm what I've been telling myself, because obviously it doesn't seem like a natural response to this typical scenario, but it is my true response. And I do believe also that I am helping facilitate a release for my partner, who I deeply love. It's just our dynamic is not allowing me to find, I haven't let it allow me to grow in the way I'm ready to grow.
The other part is making sure that they really want to, right? So this is where the tricky part is you may know, and they may know on a deep level that they are ready to release something, but they may not be willing.
Right.
And that's where things tend to dissolve on the material plane.
And I accept that too. That's the way. I have an open heart of reconciliation down the track, but I also realize I'm one of two in that scenario, and I'll be okay either way. And I hope he will be okay either way too.
Yes, you will, but there is a matter of learning to accept that someone's choosing to not do something. Yeah.
And one final thing that I want to offer you also, and this is it's open your heart to this for a minute if it resonates for you. And it's a beautiful, deep practice. It's like, how can you hold that understanding, that unity consciousness that you're holding through this scenario, and still be able to honor your anger? That which is, and I feel like I feel it strongly actually, to honor whatever rage or anger is coming through you, and to allow it to be in the same space of compassion is really going to be part of the liberation that's coming forward, because it is coming into balance. And so if you
Thank
can
you.
gift yourself that, and not feel shame or guilt from it, but actually feel the sense of liberation for yourself and your partner in it
Right.
afterwards, without the expectation that the liberation is coming, but with the honoring of the truth that is flowing through you, because whatever we suppress keeps us under. And so holding it in the light, knowing that it's just as beautiful in its own way, because it's a teacher for you shamanically into
Thank you.
aspects of light that you hold within you.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Yes, you're very
Beautiful.
welcome. Thank you for calling in.
Thank-
Sherry, was there
Thank you
something else
both.
that you wanted to add?
The only thing that the last bit is just when you accept another, you're fully accepting of yourself.
Thank you.
Even if it's
Beautiful.
not what we want to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate you both so much. Thank you. It was
Blessings
perfect
to
timing.
you. Blessings. I'm glad you called in. Great to see
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
You too. Listening.
All right, let's continue. User 1736. I love your glasses, by the way. And welcome to the call. One 1736. There you go. Unmute your button.
Okay.
Welcome.
Hi. Yeah, I'm so glad I found your show just a short while ago. It's really amazing.
Thank you.
So I've been doing a lot of training, and I right now am working as a like transformational artist in hairdressing and working on the external. And I've done some training for transformational coaching and exogetic color puncture, and I haven't transisted into doing the healing work so much. And I'm not sure I feel like a little bit what's holding me back is I haven't had full training to really, take me by the hand and do all this stuff, because I'm learning online and I'm finding it challenging. I'm not sure what quite's holding me back, or if there's just a lack of contentment that I keep seeking more learning and more learning, and what I'm missing to move forward there, or is that the direction for me?
What is your first name?
Christine.
Christine. Yeah, there's a block here. I could feel it. So just overall, when you guys first show up here, there's always, it's like the soul knows and the ego knows what's about to happen. So there may be like a, ooh, as things are coming in, right? Because the soul's like, yes, let me free. The ego's like, no, don't let this happen. So I just feeling that a little bit. It's really, happening here as well. But that's just a fear of being truly seen, right? We're not used to being truly seen. And when we know we're about to, there can be a, it's like you're having a dream and you don't have your clothes on, right? It's like, oh no, it's like it's a little bit embarrassing, or right? But just know that that's normal, okay? So we're just gonna kind of work with that. But there's a block here about doing this work. But again, there's something very trembly here as well. Yeah, this almost looks like maybe something that you've tried to heal for yourself, but it hasn't healed. So it's not about the work. It's about the believing in yourself. It looks like something has shattered that or broken that. It looks like, I don't know, if like a relationship of some sort, which then is just a branch of this deeper thing. We'll see how deep they go in here. But almost like a pattern of, well, there is an unworthiness, but then the unworthiness is going to bring in people just challenging you to stand up to your true self, right? To stand up for your worthiness. So there seems to be some sort of abuse that went on here on some level. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, so there's some deep pain in here. And this pain is like, they're showing it as like almost like what is it? Almost like if a castle were to have a moat, but this is like a stone wall all around you. Okay. And you're like, well, can I just do the work from here? And they're like, no, you need to let down that wall. Okay. Because if the wall is up when you do this work, there's going to be sense of doing things for feedback, or your work is going to be dependent on what others think approval, right? There's going to be an attachment to outcome. Okay. Right. So that's how these things kind of weave in together, and then the energy gets, I don't know, not necessarily distorted, but it gets stunted. Okay. The energy that you're trying to put forward in the world, it's got that wall on it, and it's not going to be able to flow. So I'm just going to see how much they're going to show here. I don't know how, they'll only show me what you're comfortable with to do in this setting, right? They're going to limit me to whatever you're comfortable with right now. Or they may skip the story and do the healing work. But there does seem to be some deeper trauma around some sort of abuse, okay, where maybe somebody was, well, anybody who is abusive is more or less self-focused because they have an emptiness within them, and they're trying to punish you with that emptiness. All right, so I'm seeing, yeah, this is, it's pretty guarded. I'm just gonna see if I can go around anyway. Maybe just take a deep breath and we'll just see. I'll skip the story. We won't expose any story here. There we go. Okay, I can just see the energy now. Yeah. All right, so we're just gonna go all the way back. I'm surprised this is happening right now, but we're going all the way back into this lifetime when you're just a wee little one. All right, and we're gonna skip the story for now. But this looks coming in at 2 years old, as early as 2 years old. Okay, so we're just going to start clearing that. And it's a story of not being seen, not being heard, putting your needs to the side, your voice to the side. Maybe someone who was bringing you up wasn't able to be there for you. They were self-focused. All right. And that self-focus, there's some sort of, you're not being able to be your true self and have it appreciated or supported. Okay. Did you want to say something, or you're just feeling?
Green, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to keep clearing here. All right.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, so you may feel the tears come up at this level. It's okay, we'll clear. Yeah, there's a lot of sadness in here. Feeling unseen, there's the anger. Why can't you show up for me? Why aren't you there for me? Why can't you hear me? Yeah. Feeling sad, alone, isolated. Some more anger. Now I'm just going to bring in the Aqualorian crystal and light healing to clear all their timelines and manifestations of this core root wound that we're clearing here. Yeah, a lot of sadness here. Okay. Do you have somebody on the other side, family member, recently passed, or sometime, maybe a parent or a guardian or close
My
family?
mother years ago. Yeah.
It was your mother, okay. Because there's just somebody coming in now. I think it's just When somebody passes, we can clear the karmic soul connections and the soul contract that you had in this incarnation. So that's clearing now, okay? I mean, I already feel her here. I don't know how much is going to come through. But right now we're clearing out that because she's on the other side. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a big shift. So whatever was left at unrest from that is clearing. Yeah, it's actually a lot easier once they are on the other side. Then you can just totally clear out the contract as completed in this dimensional time, right? If you connect with them, it's in a different type of contract because they are not incarnated. They are non-incarnated on another plane. So if it's in alignment, you'd contact them, but under a different contract. All right, so now we're just coming full circle to your soul path and coming into, there we go. Open up the dimensional. There we go. And now they're just showing the true version of you. Is just ready to really put her heart out there and show herself openly to all of those that come to her. You know, there's an open acceptance of yourself and all of those. It's just open, right? There's nothing to lose with putting yourself out there. There's nothing scary about it. It's okay what anybody else says is where they're at and has nothing to do with you. And you're going to learn to come into this place of feeling secure within yourself and open to, oh, okay, that's how they feel and that's okay. And this is how I feel. And I don't need to take in any of that. And I know how I feel. So practice knowing how you're feeling more. And the more that you're aware of how you feel and accepting of how you feel, the more easily you're going to be able to be present with how those that you want to work with are feeling and whatever they come through with, instead of putting up a wall of, well, if this happens, I need to be protected, right? So letting go of that now, all right? So this one will take practice, okay? But this is a pretty big healing for this kind of scenario or setup, yeah. Yeah, so let that settle in, yeah, yeah. But really practice, yeah, the actions going forward of acknowledging, maybe journal regularly to start acknowledging, having more of a practice with that. So then you're more present with others and how they are and accepting that.
That sounds like great advice. Thank you.
Beautiful blessings to you. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, enjoy your light work moving ahead.
And what's really being illuminated for me, it's again, how many of us are getting so many readings and tuning to other people and connecting to guides or wanting to be more with the essence of Gaia, or it's in all these ways that we feel something's moving in us and we're trying to adjust and attune. And what you're sharing here, Sherry, the next phase of humanity, human to superhuman, and to aligning to the frequency of the new evolutionary path, it makes sense why so many of us are looking at different courses or listening to new people, because there is an attunement and alignment. And some of it can feel a little edgy or wobbly because it's not quite just landing yet, but it's there. And it could be a little trickle that's coming in, but following the nudge, the breadcrumbs that are revealing themselves to us. It's important because it's not always a huge wave that we download right away. It's just a little bit at a time so we can attune, because these are high frequencies. And as we're aligning to that, the history of how we've known ourselves has to redefine itself as well. And so having compassion and patience for that alignment to take place as well it's part of the flow that many of us are finding ourselves in. So again, I love that you brought in, the next phase of humanity, from human to superhuman. And again, the different tools, how we can connect and align and calibrate. It's so important to have that awareness. It's not a perspective. It's the awareness of what's happening so that we can feel our nervous system adjusting and
I'm glad you
attuning and being okay. Just breathing into what feels so uncomfortable, but simultaneously it's so liberating. And how
Yeah.
wonderful is that? Go ahead, Sherry, you were going to say?
I was gonna say the nervous system is key. I've been nudged with that term a lot, actually since January came in, that our nervous systems are just being adjusted to so much. But when we do these transmissions, what I'm seeing every time is they're showing us it is already done. The plan is already done. We have already done all of this. We already know, and they're reminding us.
Agree.
And when we feel that touchstone of it's already done, then taking the next step forward doesn't feel like you're stepping off a cliff into nothingness.
Even though
Right?
you may be.
Right. The ego sees it that way, like, oh my God, what am I doing? You know, as I tell everybody, we're doing cliff diving, but don't worry, I've already jumped and everything's fine down here.
Totally.
And that's what these transmissions are doing, you know, they're saying, don't worry, you're held. Like, we'll let you see and feel and experience what this shift is already like, so you know. And then that gives you the security to take the step, because so many people are freezing up right now. And it's like a biological reaction, because the frequency field, and this is more of the Pleiadian class that I'm doing now, that they talk about this a lot, but that the frequency of the earth has changed and our biology is just reacting to all of this on the deeper levels, right? But we want to get out of the biological reaction, right? So doing the superhuman with the divine lords of light, they're showing you the grand awakening plan. And once you understand it on a deep level, right? This is beyond the ego. This is on a deep level. Like, oh, I'm already home. I'm already connected to source. And when I have that, well, the plan is always at my fingertips. And I always know exactly what I need to do when I need to do it. And then you learn to trust that more and more.
Awesome. Love this, y'all. Y'all go deeper into the special offer. Again, it's robust. There's so many recordings there and the attunements and it's, yeah, again, we're attuning, we're calibrating, we're becoming in vibrational accord. And to have the support while we're releasing, but also gaining simultaneously, it's good to have the handhold and knowing that someone else has already jumped off the cliff and they're okay, and that you'll be okay too. So again, the link for the special offers in the chat box. It's underneath your video if you're watching live, or you can always go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace, and you'll find Sherry's offer right there, including the rest of this season's offers listed on there. Sherry, let's take one more caller. I want to take everybody, but let's go here. Let's go to, yes, pick, go ahead.
1763.
1763.
Yeah. You have the teal sweatshirt on. I don't know. You're just like, there's like a beaming energy coming in. So. Do you have a question? Oh, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you. Can you set your microphone up? Can you adjust your microphone, please?
Oh, can you hear me now?
There you go.
Yes.
I hold my phone. Okay, so yeah, I had something, but then I kept getting let her go with the flow. So are going with the flow, and I'm cool with that. I'm an open book. So yeah.
What is your name?
Claudia?
Claudia. So do you have a question?
No, I don't have a specific question. I have I kept getting you're supposed to give me something.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, because I'm feeling like there's some star beings that want to connect with you. Like immediately, that's what's going on here. Yeah, do you have a practice where you connect to higher beings already, or are you trying to, or do you feel them around you?
Yeah, all of it.
Okay.
Sometimes different times of the day, or maybe like different days, it's like might be something different, like there's various things I'm connecting to, like various angels, gods or goddesses.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, I see you have a lot of gifts. Okay. You have a lot of gifts. You have a lot of abilities. It looks like they're active, but you're learning to work with them. Okay. I don't know how much you're aware of them or how much you are working with them, but it kind of seems like you're about to go through a period of everything kind of the light switch, everything's just going to flip on. Okay. Which can be overwhelming. I'm really getting the Pleiadians coming in really strong for you. It's just like, and you have such a galactic connection. I don't know if you are connecting galactically to your star being connections. You can have many and multiple, everyone usually plays with the Galactic Federation, with the Pleiadians, Arcturians, Syrians, Orion, all of that. But I'm really getting the Pleiadians, and that you have some Pleiadian guides that really want to connect with you. So this would be a great example. You can go into your Akashic enlightenment and say, okay, Pleiadians, I'm here. What do you got?
Yeah.
What you got? And then I see you just like writing, like they want to connect with you. Yeah. So you have a lot to share right now. I feel like maybe you're being more quiet about things than than what's really going on. You got a lot hiding underneath the surface there. But you've got quite the path. Are you already kind of doing this work? Are you moving into this type of work?
No.
But
So I think
you feel it with a sigh, yes?
I've been fighting for 10 years, not letting one specific thing come in, because I'm interested in so many different things. So that's been part of my problem, is like not, I don't want to say narrowing it down, but not letting it happen,
Yeah, there's two things going on there. Number one, that's part of the accelerated path. That's why I said, like, you're just getting turned on left and right, like all of your abilities and everything, which then can lead into a plethora of, oh, this class is interesting. Oh, that YouTube channel. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, this, books showing up, people showing up, and then you're just like, wow, it's happening. But at the same time, what they're saying is don't use that as an excuse for the ego to shut it down. Oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. I don't want to do this. Right? It's more like, wow, this is awesome. This is exciting. So they're saying, be curious, right? So that's like the first thing. So as John was saying in the beginning, how do you ask the right questions? Okay. The right questions is first showing up and being curious. What is that? Why is this coming in? How do I feel connected to this? And then you'll follow it. And maybe as soon as you follow it, you drop off. So, I mean, I say this from experience. When I went through my awakening, all my stuff is incredibly fast and intense, right? Where I'm doing Reiki training and then shaman training, and then I'm in acupuncture school, and then this is happening and this is happening, right? It's like an accelerated path, right? And some souls just go that way, right? That's just their speed. They're driving the fast lane. You've usually had a lot of other lifetimes where you've already done all of this work before, and so you come in and you're foot to the pedal the second you get here. And then once you have a shift like we're going through right now. So I also see a lot of people get activated when we go through these big light wave shifts, right? And people that are like, I don't know why I'm drawn to you. I got to do all your training. Something's happening. And I'm like, don't worry. This happens all the time. You're getting activated. It's you should watch the show Travelers on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
They just show how people are coming in from the future to come to this version of Earth to help it survive, to get to that future, right? So it's like you're one of those people, you're here, but you're getting activated right now. And so everything is coming in. So really, Akashic Enlightenment is a great tool for you to just get in there and say, help me out. What do I need? What do you have for me? You know, what do I do about this class? What do I do about this? What are my gifts? What are my abilities? You know, what do I move forward with first? So this is, that's what I used Shamanic Journey for when all of my stuff was happening. And then Akashic Enlightenment came as the next tool for that. But you really just want to try to follow the higher guidance, to follow all these things that are coming in.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of the YouTube. I've done a lot of like, oh, let me take this little class. Let me look into this. Let me do that. I went, what was it, 2018? I went to Peru and I got trained in combo, and then I did it for a very tiny amount of time. And then I was like, okay, well, you know,
Yeah,
maybe this.
one thing that's calling all of us as we're maturing spiritually and we're being called into more refined consciousness. And Sherry, you asked us in the very beginning, and I wanted to end today's call with this truly. And of course, saying goodbye to Sherry and see what last message she wants to share with us. And before I do that, y'all, the special offer, the links in the chat box, the marketplace link, you know how to have it. We'll have the replay up about an hour, couple hours after the call. But again, as we're being called into, we're asking to connect with mastery. We just are. And we can show up and say, hey, you have something for me. And I get the message that you have something for me. And that's great. But what are you going to do with that thing that has been gifted to you? What is it that you're going to carry forward? It's like, if we're showing up in reverence for that divine gift from one another, that soul spark, that wisdom, what are we putting in practice in honor of that reverent field? And so what will it take for us to devote 5, 10, 15 minutes a day to this space to refine that awakening that is coming up for you? And to really dedicate to it, to show up in the devotion that you were wishing that devotion shows up for you. It's a reciprocal, engaging, toroidal field that matches what you're putting out and what you're receiving simultaneously. And if we can be aware of that and have innocent time for that practice, what unfolds for you, it's just, it's beyond what we can talk on this show right now. It's beyond the words that we have, but we'll be experiencing it. And from there, we'll be able to translate it much more beautifully, much more grounded in a way that's accessible for this human mind to understand the significance of what's being birthed within us. So I so appreciate that you came on and all these practices and all these things that you're doing. And again, an invitation, it's like, let's just devote in. It doesn't have to be a practice. Connecting to beings of light, to our Akashic knowing, yes. But even just a practice of stillness without the expectation of anything other than just being in that stillness. That's y'all's most precious gift that you can give to yourself, and that you in turn can give to the divine. It costs you nothing other than the illusion of time that we believe exists.
Mhm.
0 point peace. Yes. So thank you for coming on. Way to go on your journeys. The combo, I get it. Fantastic. Thank you for coming on. And Sherry, let's get you to wrap up today's call. What do you want to share?
There was just one more message for her, just to get organized. They just show writing down a list and doing lists. It just comes down to the actions. You got so many skills, just get things organized and set up and do it. It's more in the material realm. You know, we can get so much connection up here, but then, you know, the way that we bring our spiritual truth in is through action. We have to materialize it, you know, and sometimes that can be the scariest or the hardest thing. So in this case, they're saying get organized, or anybody out there practicing, you know, get organized, get your task list down. You know, I have 5 planets in Capricorn. I have no problem doing that from my side.
Yeah.
I think there's too much of that. Yeah.
And a quick question, but like, how do you get past the procrastination?
That's what they're saying. They're showing do a task list and just do
Step
it.
one, then step
Uh,
2, then step 3, then step 4, then
okay.
step 5.
You make the list and do it.
All right.
And with the
So,
prayer, and I'll give you another reason that'll help with what you're calling procrastination. What's your reason for the action? If you don't have a reason, if you don't have a purpose,
yeah. So recently, I think it was like avoiding stepping into my power. I've been avoiding it for years. Like,
so what's the opposite? What's the opposite of that?
I'm familiar.
What's the opposite of the avoidance of stepping into your power?
yeah, accepting.
Actually stepping into being curious about your power.
Yeah.
And so again, we have a perspective and the thought and the way of, well, I'm avoiding stepping into my power, so I'm going to be in that. Let me experience that. Let me be the one who's avoiding stepping in her power. Let me work on 10 different modalities that I'm going to learn simultaneously, because I'll eventually do it if I decide to, maybe. Or it's okay, I've done that long enough. If I've been avoiding stepping into my power, since we live in a world of polarity, what brings balance to that? Let me take the next action to be curious about what that feels like to step into my power. Because you're not going to step into the fullness of it tomorrow. I can guarantee you that. So don't be afraid of the outcome or what might happen. Allow the outcome to calibrate to your new being on a daily basis, because you don't know who you're going to become. So don't be afraid of that. I can talk about this all day long. I'm giving you an initiation. This is an energetic attunement that's happening for all of us here. And so, okay. So you're afraid of stepping in your power. So what? So what? Be afraid and step into it anyway. Because not stepping into it isn't getting you anywhere, is it?
No, I'm in it's like I'm a dog chasing my own tail,
Yeah, and then finances don't keep up and relationships aren't as good as you know that they can be, and just, TV just doesn't do it anymore. And my God, if I have to try to find another interesting YouTube video or show on BTO, I'm gonna go freaking crazy because nothing is satisfying me. It's because it's time.
Yeah.
It's time.
Right. Okay.
It's time. And Sherry, I'm gonna finish with this before we say goodbye. Would you be willing to repeat this? You don't have to, only if you want to.
Sure.
If it feels true in your heart, I'm ready to step into my power.
I'm ready to step into my power.
I don't know what that looks like.
I don't know what that looks like.
And I'm so curious.
And I'm so curious.
I'm so curious as to who I really am.
I'm so curious as to who I really am.
And that excites me.
And that excites me.
That excitement.
Yeah.
That excitement. Repeat after me. That excitement.
That excitement.
Is having me curious about stepping in my power.
Is having me curious about stepping into my power.
I think I'll step into my power.
I think I'll step into my power.
I'm ready to step into my power.
I'm ready to step into my power.
It's time to step into my power.
It's time to step into my power.
It's not just for me.
It's not just for me.
It has bigger implications.
It has bigger implications.
I'm ready to step into my power.
I'm ready to step into my power.
I'm ready to be all who I am.
I'm ready to be all who I am.
I'm ready now.
I'm ready now.
Beautiful. See, that was easy, right?
Yeah.
One step at a time. One step at a time. Sherry, thank you for indulging me while I did that. And this is for all of us. Thanks for coming on. Sherry, any final thoughts that you want to share about the Akashic about the Aquarians, about being superhuman, or about anything that may be
Yeah.
transmitted through you now?
Yeah, I mean, our last topic here is actually great. It's like, don't be afraid of, the ego death that you will go through. Let the ego be okay with being afraid and do it anyway. That's really what it comes down to. Okay, is taking the action step, even though your ego may go, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm terrified. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'll be successful. I don't know if I'll get through this. I don't know if I'm going to totally fall apart. I don't know this. I don't know that. This may happen. This may happen. This may happen. Okay, just let that all go over
Let it
here.
happen.
Yeah, in the background. And then you just keep going. You follow the guidance, you surrender, and you go with the guidance. And that's what Akashic Enlightenment is going to support you with 100%. And that's what's going to change your life completely. I've just said, okay, over and over and over and over and over. And that's how we're here right now.
Beautiful.
So, thank you.
And what's beautiful about the Akashic Alignment and what you're sharing in the special offer, it's such a reminder that even though we believe that we're doing this alone, the support that's there for us in the physical and the etheric, y'all, we're so surrounded. We are so guided. And there's so much love here in the physical also, cheering us on, guiding us, supporting as I perhaps share here from time to time as the guest through the level of support that shows up for me. I know the level of support that shows up for Sherry. It's like it's so abundant and it's real. It's real. So I hope that y'all rest your heart in that truth. It's my absolute knowing. Sherry, thank you for coming on, for this amazing package you put together, and for these transmissions today.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
It's
thank
wonderful
you.
to have you here, and thank all of y'all for showing up and this connection to love that you are. Wow, it's so wonderful that I get to witness this beauty through these eyes. Thank you all for who you be, the light that you shine, the innocence that you carry, and the curiosity that makes this world such a wonderful place to live in. I love y'all. I look forward to seeing y'all on the next show. Have a great
Thank
evening.
you so much. Lots of love.